I'm Sam.
I'm Swish, and on this week's edition of Last Minute Lit, we will be covering...
Start off today with going over Oedipus Rex,
or Oedipus the King,
which is one of the major works written by Sophocles. It's one of the most well-known ancient Greek plays. So what you need to know before going into this play, period, is the basic premise behind this is all following an oracle. Before any of this actually happens, King Laius is a shitty-ass dude who rapes this other boy, we can't pronounce it.
It begins with a C. There's
CH.
a couple of P's in there.
Point is, he gets this oracle that says, look, because you did that, your son is going to kill you and marry your wife.
And the more important point is that Oedipus was a myth before it was ever a play, so that everybody who came to see this would know that, and the rest of it ahead of time. So, this is set in ancient Greece, Thebes specifically. At this point in time, Thebes is in the clutches of a really vicious plague.
Plague! Oh my god, there's a plague!
Everyone's dying.
Technically, it's kind of like a plague/drought thing.
Just a lot of bad shit going on.
Everything is happening.
And Oedipus, being the king of Thebes at the time, is like, holy shit, this is not so good.
So guess what we're gonna do?
Let's go to the Oracle at Delphi!
Let's send our brother-in-law, Creon, to go find out what's happening. So once he comes back with that, Creon comes back and he's like, alright man, we gotta sit down and have a talk, because shit's about to go down.
So, Creon's, like, our old king was, well, murdered. But we were plagued by a sphinx at the time, so we didn't think it was a good enough idea to look into it. So it turns out, the gods are, mildly pissed.
So if you want to fix this, what you have to do is go and find out who murdered Laius, and fix it.
Call it, like, the CSI team or something, I don't know.
So Oedipus decides, alright, you know what, fuck this. If somebody murdered the old king, they might come after me too. So it's gonna be self-preservation for me, it's gonna be righteousness for Thebes. Let's go out, and I'm either gonna murder or exile this person that murdered the old king. Because this is my brilliant plan as king.
He had, like, a really big speech about, like, retribution and how I'm gonna kick their ass.
Very angry Oedipus, not really thinking things through, just kind of yelling at everyone because he's pissed off that somebody's causing this to happen to his city.
And when we get further on the play, you will realize that this is actually dramatic irony.
He decides who better to call in than the blind prophet Tiresias.
Oedipus, he started asking about, like, the murder, and Tiresias is like, dude, you don't want to know. I'm telling you, just, like, step off on this one.
Oedipus is like, I want to know! You gotta tell me. I'm the king, you gotta tell me.
Tiresias is like, are you fucking stupid? I'm telling you, you don't want to know this.
Oedipus is like, come on man, I'm the king, you gotta do what the fuck I tell you to do.
More or less, Oedipus smash. And then at this point in time, Tiresias is like, okay, you're gonna be such a fucking asshat, you know what, I'm gonna tell you, you killed the king, dumb fuck.
Oedipus now flips the shit, because oh my god, you just accused me of killing the king, and then causing this whole plague.
Why would you tell me this? I don't know why you would do this to me.
You have to be lying, you're in cahoots with somebody else, oh my god, you must be in cahoots with Creon, the two of you are trying to get my throne. Oedipus is flipping out, because right now he thinks everybody is trying to get his throne.
So, what do you do when you're a paranoid king? You obviously go and confront the probably innocent perpetrator. So he storms up to Creon and starts, like, completely attacking him.
Really important there, Creon points out the fact that why would you want to be king? Because you can have power and be the puppet master behind the scenes without having people wanting you dead because you're the king.
I have a lot of good things here. You have not so good things. Keep your not so good things, and I'm gonna keep living it up back here. If you don't mind.
He's still freaking pissed off.
Not convinced.
So he decides to go have a chat with his wife, because clearly she's the only person that's going to be able to calm him down. And he needs somebody that he doesn't think is plotting against him, so that he can talk it out and see what's going on in his kingdom. So he goes to Jocasta. Jocasta is his...
Fun story about that one.
So they sit down and they have a nice little chat about fate and how things aren't always necessarily going to happen the way that the gods say that they are.
Jocasta does not believe in fate at all, ever. And it's super ironic because the reason she doesn't believe in fate is because she too heard this prophecy, you know, fuck mom, kill dad. And she's convinced that it didn't happen and she aborted the prophecy.
How did she abort the prophecy, you ask?
She sent her child, her precious child, with his feet pinned together, very important, it fucked up the way Oedipus walks. His name actually means bad foot in Greek. Basically, she sent him to die on a mountain, which is what every heartwarming mother does.
At least that's what she thinks happened.
She doesn't know that Oedipus is her son.
Now he's thinking about it, and I was the Prince of Corinth. At least that's what he thinks he was. He goes to the Oracle at Delphi one day, and he's like, alright, I need my prophecy. I'm a man now, let's find out what I'm doing. Prophet tells him, hey, guess what, man? You're gonna kill your father and fuck him, / marry your mother.
Top notch.
That takes fuck, marry, kill a little bit too strongly, but anyway. So he's gonna leave Corinth so he can't kill his father and marry his mother. Smart idea.
And that, incidentally, by the workings of the gods, of course, is how he ends up in Thebes. He's adventuring.
So he's adventuring.
And he is walking along the road. And this guy wants to, like, I don't know, share the road, get around him, and you think, common courtesy, scooch over.
Well, what you gotta understand is that guy had, like, a whole horde of people with him. So it's Oedipus versus massive people.
But Oedipus is an entitled little fuckwad being raised as a prince, so he doesn't even fucking move over, despite the fact that he's one goddamn person. They can probably all fit on the road together. So, instead of
hold up. The horde wanted him to get off the road, period. They didn't want to share the road. Nobody wants to share the road.
And suddenly, the king, this was King Laius, who was not sharing the road with.
Oedipus didn't know this at the time, but
King and his entire horde is massacred, except for one lone fellow who escaped, who will become important later. Basically, Oedipus killed his dad without even knowing. Gotta love prophecy.
So Oedipus keeps going. Now he's showing up at Thebes. And now he's like, oh, hey, maybe I can get some rest in this city. Oh, but wait, there's a giant sphinx in front of the city.
Bad shit happens in Thebes, man. Never go to Thebes. So the Sphinx.
So the Sphinx is now killing and eating everyone that tries to enter or exit Thebes, unless they can answer her riddle.
The Sphinx's riddle is, what walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the afternoon, and 3 legs in the evening? Well, nobody can figure it out.
Except Oedipus.
Except for Oedipus, because he's just so fucking great. So he walks up to the Sphinx, she tells him the riddle, he looks at her, and he's like, man.
Throws herself off the city walls and then dashes herself to death on the rocks.
Yeah.
Ironically, though, the figure of the wild woman that nobody could control was defeated by the simple answer of man. Point is, he fixed the Sphinx problem. So now they're like, oh my god, you're a hero, we're gonna make you king.
And that just feeds into his desperate egotism, which is what he loves. So they say, okay, you can be the king and you get the queen, because somehow our old king died.
So Oedipus isn't asking questions, he's just like, cool, I get my own city and a queen, bingo. So
bitches get money. So he's telling this story to Jocasta, who knows bits of it.
And Jocasta's now starting to freak out a little bit. You know what? He's our one eyewitness. That's how we solved this murder!
Hey! It's like he's been watching the crime shows all along!
Alright, so we call in the one guy that fled the scene, and he's like, alright, look, you gotta tell me, what the hell happened that night? Like, who killed the king?
See, the, rumors in downtown Thebes was that it was a gang of sorts that killed Laius and his entourage.
Because no one man could kill an entire entourage and
Who could believe that?
So, we call in the one eyewitness. The one eyewitness is like, man, you don't want to do this, just stop, I want to go home.
Pretty much the same thing as Tiresias. And Oedipus is like, I'm your motherfucking king, you're gonna tell me, or I'm going to kill you.
Everybody except for Oedipus can see that this is a bad idea.
Like, Jocasta's like, shit man, step off a little bit.
Oedipus, as much as he's got like 20/20 vision, has no idea what's going on around him.
That's a major theme.
Blindness. Mind you, the blind prophet can see what's going on. Oedipus, not a freaking clue. Eyewitness goes and he's telling about what happened that night.
And he's like, yeah, legit, it was just kind of one guy who beat all of our asses.
Now let's call in the other eyewitness, the one that dropped the baby off.
Jocasta's head is like slowly exploding. Because she's getting it. Like literally fucking the vagina that you came out of.
Which they make a big point of, talking about the fact that the son came out of there and is now...
Out,
yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
4 kids, yeah.
4 kids.
2 daughters, 2 sons. Point is, that these are important because they are the children of incest. Not even just like incest like Lannister incest.
Like,
we're talking incest like mother-son incest, which is a whole separate level of weird. So, now they bring in the other guy, the shepherd,
who Jocasta gave her baby to.
Jocasta does not want to be there at the time. She's like, look man, I'm going to my rooms, don't talk to me. Yeah. So, Jocasta, before she leaves to go to her rooms, she's already realized what's happening. Like, she goes to her rooms because she knows she's going to commit suicide. Man of Agony. That is the only name I have for you. That, no other. Ever, ever, ever.
A little bit melodramatic.
But
it works.
But it's important, because at that point she's realized that she has married her son. And so she can't call him her husband, even though she is married to him.
She can't really call him her son, because that'd just be super uncomfortable.
So Man of Agony becomes his new name as far as Jocasta's concerned. Oedipus is talking out to the shepherd, and the shepherd's like, hey, buddy!
You really don't want to know this! Just like
Guess what
every
Oedipus
other
wants to
fucking
know?
person.
Let's find out the truth.
Just the usual shit.
So the shepherd gets freaked out and starts telling him, look, man, so I was taking this baby and his feet were tied together, so I took out the pin, and you know, there was this king and queen, Polybus and Merope. They were the king and queen of Corinth, and they couldn't have kids, so...
I like him. You need him more.
Guess what? You accidentally became the Prince of Corinth.
Hey, Badfoot, how you doing?
Switch over to Jocasta. Jocasta's flipping out in her
She's
rooms.
flipping.
She sends everybody out because, oh my god, I can't live with what I've done. I have not only made sure that this prophecy somehow happened, but I was the one that made it happen by fucking and marrying my son.
Yeah!
Solution? I can't deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. Let's kill ourselves. Those incestuous sheets, that's what she ends up killing herself with. Oops. Oedipus is now freaking out because he found out he just killed his father, his mother is his wife, and she just killed herself, and everybody's dying, and I don't know what's happening. Oh my god!
Oedipus does not handle things well.
No, Oedipus has got like two modes. Smash or freak out. Usually both at the same time. Yeah. He runs in, Jocasta's hanging from the ceiling, he's freaking out because oh my god, she's dead.
Never fun.
What's his genius plan?
I'm gonna gouge my own eyes out. That'll solve the problem.
Let's take her golden pins and stab them into my eyes. Going back to that whole sight thing.
Yeah, major deal.
He couldn't see when he had eyes, but now that he's blind, he can see the truth.
And there's a little time skip. Sitting there, eyes gouged out, kind of bummed, but more like at peace than he was before.
Reminder, before all of this started happening and before he thought he might be the person to do it, he promised that he...
bastard.
Yeah. He promised that he would either kill the person that killed Laius or exile them. So now he's the person that killed Laius. What you gonna do?
He's thinking, hey, too much suicide floating around. I'm just gonna leave town.
So, we call them the daughters, because the sons can take care of themselves.
He spends paragraphs talking about his daughters and how they will need to be protected because they are children of incest.
Who wants to marry that, man?
Yeah. He's talking to Creon. It's like, Creon, they're fucked. I need you to take care of it. Oedipus leaves town in pain, in agony, never to have peace for the rest of his days, because he was a fuckwad.
None of this was his fault. It was all his father's fault because it's the sins of the father visited on the son.
Fun story, Oedipus? Not about Oedipus.